what it is. Brad Lea back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs today in the studio, folks. I got a real treat for you. David Fabricius in the house. David Fabricius. Am I pronouncing it correctly? And you want that microphone as close to you as possible.
Yes, sir. Perfect. No problem.
Now, for those of you that don't know who he is, that's because he's damn near a freaking Secret Service spy. Damn near. You know, it would be an injustice if I tried to read off your accolades. But folks, he's been around the world. He's lived in caves with nothing. He creates some of the baddest ass knives on the planet. He's spoken to and coached and mentored massive names, big people. He's met with dignitaries all over the country. Yeah?
Yes, sir.
He's written several books, obviously, Warrior Entrepreneur, Investor Leader, Strategic Net Worth, gets paid to come literally share his knowledge with people all over the planet. So it's good to have you here. Now, what I want to know right now is @David_Fabricius. That's your Instagram.
No, sir. I haven't used that for years.
Well, what is it?
I don't have one.
Well, that's foolish.
Yes, sir.
What do you mean? Are you being real?
Yeah, real. I disappeared. I disappeared off.
Are you back?
I'm just coming back, yes.
Well, then you should whip it out right now and create yourself an Instagram account so we can get people to follow you. Because there's going to be a lot of listeners going, dude, where is this guy? I want to follow him. and plus, dude, you're going to want to build a personal brand.
Yes.
So where you been then?
I disappeared. I went into the Valley of Death and lived in the Valley of Death in the desert, in the raw open desert first, then later in a shed and an underground Mad Max structure, 40 shipping containers deep underground. In the Valley of Death, in the lowest part on earth, I went even further, deeper down, in the hottest desert in the world. And then I lived in a cave in a mountain, high up in a mountain, in an isolated area in a cave. In between that, I traveled the world. From there, I went to Scandinavia several times, Norway, Sweden. I went to Turkey twice. I went to Italy 4 times. I went to Monaco. I went to Dubai. I went to the island of Mauritius to work with YPOers down there in Mauritius. I went all over the world. Mexico City, working with the richest people, the 120 richest people in Mexico City, Tulum, and just back in Vegas now. Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, yeah. What are you helping them with?
Who is specifically YPO?
Yeah, all the places you're going and talking.
Okay. Yeah. So what they bring me in is for a theme called I Am Possible. So they take the word impossible and they break it up into I am possible instead of impossible. So what I'm known for is I would go in and I would demonstrate a very, very secret technique that probably less than 10 people on planet Earth know how to do, is how to make fire with water, with drinking water, tap water. Starting using that as a catalyst instead of matches or instead of a lighter, literally making fire with water, something anybody would say is totally impossible. Indeed, it is possible. It is taught in improvised explosives in very private groups. But that really wakes people up to say, wow, man, there are more things that are possible than what we think is possible. I help them punch through flaming wooden boards. We break arrows. We bend rebar, steel bars. We jump on broken glass. We walk on fire. We do ice baths. We do an event called Fire and Ice. So that really just, even members of the House of Lords in London, YPO London, Lord Karanbal Mori, a billionaire, the commander of the British Empire, a man with a doctorate in law, and on and on. They did it with me. And they said it's the greatest thing they've ever done. It really redefined what's possible. It wakes people up. So it ignites people, but it also bonds people because they're scared together once they have to do these challenges. And then, 90 minutes later, they have a whole bunch of victories and they celebrate together. And that's how you bond people together. You make them scared. You give them a challenge. You give them a win. You stack 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins, one after the other. After that, you cannot convince those people that whatever they want to do is not possible. That is preceded with either a conversation around spiritual manifestation, or a conversation around leadership, or a conversation around sales strategies, depending on the group. I don't want to make this conversation too long, but it really depends on the group. It's always bespoke. It's always customized for your needs.
Warrior, entrepreneur, investor, leader. It has that symbol.
Yes, sir.
People didn't see the symbol. I left it out there. But what's the significance of the symbol on this book?
That is a very important symbol to me. It's a compass rose. It is the same that if you go to the CIA's head office, you would see that on their floor. If you go to the Vatican, you go to St. Paul, you'll see it on the floor.
What does it mean?
It means full spectrum capability. So I created, with the help of YPOers and WPOers globally, the most advanced, the most comprehensive leadership and personal development system on planet Earth, simplified. And the whole concept behind this is to be well developed spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, socially, and that's where all the other companies stop, my competitors and my friends. We add sexually and tactically. So that is truly full spectrum. So it means the person who is the bearer of this logo, like the belt buckle that Brad now have, that only 8 men on the planet have officially, you're capable to do many different things at a very high level of excellence. You're ready within seconds, within minutes, to go in any direction. You're a full spectrum capable man, like a Delta Force operator, as an example, like a SEAL Team 6 operator. So it's really symbolizing that full spectrum capability, reaching for excellence in the 8 dimensions of life.
So the only thing I want to bring up, Special Forces instructor. How'd you get into that?
Well, I joined Special Forces not because I was brave, but because I was scared. I was drafted into the military in Africa. I looked around. I was drafted to military intelligence. I was involved first in other armed forces. They only take you when you're a bit older. They don't take you at age 18 when you first go into the armed forces. You have to be a bit more mature. And I looked around and I saw, man, if I get into battle with these other guys, I'll be dead. And I heard of this group, Special Forces, Recon, Airborne Infantry. Man, they were handsome. They were dudes. They had special boots, special knives, special everything, and I liked it. I wanted to be part of that. You volunteer. You're very lucky to even make it through pre-selection. You're even luckier to make it through selection. 17 of us out of a very large group, 17 of us finished the training. At the end of the training, 6 names were called out to go into the operator teams. They will have the title as operator. The man who trained us, the most highly decorated soldier in our military, looked at me and he said, "What about you?" But he already had a conversation with me 2 weeks prior, that private conversation. And he said, "Look, man, you've got a couple of problems. First of all, you build like a fucking ballerina. Your ankles, your knees are too thin. You're not going to last, right? Parachuting with heavy backpacks, carrying heavy backpacks and so on. The second problem you have is you actually have compassion. You actually have empathy for people. This is not the right job for you. You're not mature enough. You're not hard enough as yet. I'm going to send you to an instructor's program. So you won't be an operator. Not now, a year from now, yes. But you got to work as an instructor for a year first in the Special Forces school. I'm pulling 12 old men out of combat that will go on a special instructor's program. You will be with them. They'll probably kill you. If they don't kill you, if you make it through the training, and depending how well you do, we'll have another conversation. I'm not popular saying this. There are people who hate hearing this. But I was awarded first place in the instructor's program. Like it or not, it's fact. And I worked briefly in the Special Forces school as an instructor. Basic stuff, infantry, right? Shoot, move, communicate, nothing special. I get it. When they recruit you, they tell you a Special Forces. When you have the training, they go, "You're nobody special." I get it, right? Then I had the opportunity to go to another unit, which was specializing in hostage rescue. A very small unit. I met a commanding officer. He said, "Hey, man, come here." And so I went there. Again, very quickly, they noticed that I have great talent as a teacher, as an instructor. I qualified as an operator in that unit, although I never used the title warrior or operator or any of that. I don't claim any of that. No stolen valor here, because I know people will now come after me again since I'm answering this. And I was just once again an instructor. So I was always just in the training cadre, no big war warrior, war hero, nothing, But I'm still proud that I was one of the very few to be in those units, to at least go through the training.
It's also cool. It's cool to say.
Yeah, but we don't push that around too much.
Well, I want to have just an open dialogue. I know that you're a speaker, so I always tell my listeners, hey, if you want to hire him or book him or get him to train you or buy a knife or however they can support you, where to go, that would be where? The Facebook page.
Facebook.
So you guys are big Facebook fans, and on Facebook, where do they find you? Just David Fabricius? David
Fabricius. There's at least 3 or 4 profiles. You just have to find which one is currently active.
Fabricius, folks.
Correct.
And again, you guys can Google him. He's got articles about him and whatnot. But I just want to have an open conversation back and forth. Like, for example, when you were living in the desert, you say you went out there. It's hot as shit out there. Did you have AC?
No, sir. I deliberately went on a motorcycle, right, on a hero's journey, on a quest, a vision quest. I wanted to do it as hard as possible.
But how do you survive? That's why it's called Death Valley.
Yeah, barely.
Nothing's alive there.
Barely. I took canned sardines, took as much water as I could carry, very little bit of food, etc., etc. I went out into the open desert. You cannot stay there long. You will absolutely die. There's no access to water there, right? The temperatures go up to 130, 140 plus. It's so hot.
What does that feel like?
Like in an oven. It's like breathing a hairdryer blowing into your mouth day and night, right? Midsummer. Birds fall dead out of the sky. It's so quiet that if a crow flies in the distance, you can hear the slow flap of its wings. And I went there and I said, God, talk to me. I was on a spiritual vision quest during COVID. Instead of sitting in a house feeling, depressed, I went on an adventure. After 40 days and 40 nights, I was almost dead. God still had nothing to say to me, at least what I could hear. And I thought, well, I'm a sinner. I can't expect God to give me a priority. I'm not like the purest guy on earth. So, give God a little bit of time. But day 44, magic and miracles started occurring, and it never stopped. It's been an amazing journey, deep spiritual journey. Mark Victor Hansen, Chicken Soup for the Soul, and I are doing a book now on that desert experience. He loved it when he heard about it. It was intense, but I also then had to pull back. I had to go to a dilapidated, deserted desert town. It was an old brothel town, and basically everybody left when things happened there. There's about 8 people alive that I ever saw in that town. You never see more than 4 people there. You can buy nothing. There's nothing to buy, not water, not gasoline, absolutely nothing. And that's where I made knives in like a Mad Max setting underground and in an old shed. I picked up some rusty files and things like that, steel there. That's where we started.
And then you started making the badass knives?
Yes. I made some knives. I uploaded the ugliest knife in the world to Facebook. People saw it and suddenly I got requests. And I'm glad to say today some former Delta and former CIA men treasure those knives that they got from me. Brad now also have one, so
Now I'm a owner of several.
Yeah.
What are those knives called? Do you call them Fabricius?
No, they were called, the brand was called Fear No Evil, Death Valley, USA. I saw a shadow one day while I was riding on a motorcycle cast into the valley. And I was reminded of, even though I walk through the valley of death, I shall fear no evil. So I thought that will be a badass brand name, Fear No Evil, Death Valley, USA.
Yeah, because that's a big title. But Fear No Evil, someone has to have that, no?
Maybe,
But Death Valley USA, all collective, they didn't.
yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, but that's good. Is it a business? Can someone buy those knives right now or no?
Not really. I've always been very difficult to find. YPO, a billionaire, told me, David, I had a team of people searching for you for 9 months. And they tracked down a mercenary in Bali. And he called me and said, what shall I tell them? They're asking for you. Should I say you're dead or are you alive? Can they hire you? And I said, who is it? And he told me. I said, no, he can hire me. I know him. Right. So I'm just not easy to find. It's simple. I'm not for everybody.
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out why. Like, what is the purpose of going out into the desert in a hot ass environment? And I picture you just, out there by yourself, right?
Yes. The purpose of that is that every man needs to deliberately seek out some discomfort. Every man needs to spend time with God. And so, yes, it was voluntary. But if God wants to make a man great, if God wants to do a great thing in his life, normally he first isolates you. And he first rips you apart. He makes you a nobody. And once you're a nobody, God will take you and make you a somebody. Your gift will make a way for you. From there, I went in front of some of the most incredible people on earth, including here now, so that you're not arrogant and think it was you, that you know it was God that did a great thing in your life. And it gives the next man hope to go, look at that dude. He was in the desert with absolutely nothing, in the middle of nowhere. And from there, he went, to Monaco, to Dubai. His girlfriend, billionaires chase his girlfriend. The chick of Dubai wants her and you get her, and on and on and on, right? It's like, how's that possible? That's not normal. And then maybe somebody will say, well, maybe I should believe more about spiritual manifestation than I did in the past.
Do you believe in that?
I do. Maria, who's with me here in the studio, she said at 9:30 in the morning, I remember looking at my watch at the time, she said, I want to meet the Sheikh of Abu Dhabi. I joke with her. I said, man, you're a powerful manifester. I know you can and will, but not today. We were on our way to Abu Dhabi from Dubai. And I said, you should maybe rather just say, hey, it'd be easier to meet Jesus, right? All you need to do is die, and maybe you've got a shot at it if you say the right prayer. But the Sheikh of Abu Dhabi, I don't think so, not today. 9:30 that night, we met the Sheikh of Abu Dhabi face to face, 4 inches from him, 6 inches from his face. And he was drooling over her at the time. He was kind of, not a story for another day. But that is how powerful it is. Within 12 hours, we learned later we were delayed by 2.5 hours. We knew he was going to be at our hotel at 7. Guess what? He also got delayed by 2.5 hours. The universe arranged for us to meet at the exact time and place. I believe in it. I've seen it happen too many times.
Do you have any steps people can take? Like step 1, do this, step 2, do that?
Yeah, go to the desert, suffer. No, of course not. Spiritual manifestation begins with your heart. Your heart is what attracts to you. It have attraction energy. But it also must work with your mind. Your mind is what sends out the signal. So your thoughts, your prayers, your words. And I'm not hyper-religious. I'm much more of an Old Testament Christian than a New Testament guy. So don't think I'm super hyper-religious. I'm not even pretending that, right? But I believe in God. And I know that you can, with your mind and with your prayer and your word, connect. You can ask. And the universe is benevolent. The universe wants you to ask. But then it's what's going on in your heart. Do you deserve it? Do you really want it? That is what creates an attraction. And in quantum physics, the moment you think it, the moment you believe it, the moment you truly want it, the signal go out. They can't even measure the speed of it. I talked with a quantum physicist in Dubai about this, and he explained a lot, but they can't even measure the speed. And it connects with that molecule out in the universe. And those two molecules start working towards, moving towards each other. But you have to believe it. If you don't believe it, it's not going to happen for you, right? There's a lot more to that conversation, but I'm trying to be brief.
Well, again, I do believe in it. I think most people should. So you're out in the desert. You finally, did God talk to you after 44 days? You said you got miracles and shit started happening. What were the miracles?
First of all, there was that sense inside, sort of that what I describe as a small, still voice, right? So I started hearing that voice. I started feeling the connection. It took me 44 days. Other people may be quicker than me, but it is what it is.
Now, what if it was after 13 days? Would you have left?
Maybe. I started actually enjoying being out there. Scorpions were stinging me. I was waking up in the morning with snakes crawling past me. It's a tough environment, right?
Where you're by yourself.
Most of it all by myself. I just started attracting visitors. A rich family sent their son for initiation there for me to train him a bit. People came to buy knives. Things started improving. I met a man who's got a well. I beg your pardon?
You'd have to get some supplies.
I met a man who was living in the area. He had a well. And so people started bringing me supplies, and I could get water from his well, and he would bring me water. I met him on day 44, and he's a dear friend now. So let me just get back to your question, the essence of that question, sir.
That means somewhere at the, on one of your knives, you should write 44. It's a special day.
Yeah, good idea. Good idea.
Because it seems like everything you have and do has some sort of meaning behind
Symbolism, indeed. I wrote a book that got 555 pages, only 40 copies, etc. For those reasons, that book, is valued at $10,000 and a blood oath to get it. It's not something you can buy on Amazon, right? Not available. But so bottom line is, I realize I can't stay out there forever. Plus, what I got from God is, David, cool, you made your sacrifice, you showed your heart, your willingness, you had your suffering, but you are wasting your talent. You're wasting your gift. I gave you the gift of speaking. You got to use your gift for the purpose for which it was given. And now that you know first, you must take your water to where the thirsty are. Take this message back to people. All right? Go and inspire, motivate, entertain, educate people. Go connect with people, go help people to discover their higher purpose revealed. So I had that sense that if I stay longer there, I'm wasting my time. Plus, I was losing too much muscle mass. I was getting too skinny. Some days I would just eat a can of sardines for the entire 24 hours. Can of sardines and water today. I had a can of sardines. That's all I had today, right? So far, at least. It's a good thing, but not for too long. It's not sustainable. I felt the urge to travel again. I've always wanted to travel the world extensively, which I've done across 6 continents for the last 30 plus years. So Odin sent a Viking woman to charm me to come to Sweden. I was making Viking axes, so I had a great adventure in Scandinavia and Sweden and Norway. Life's an adventure.
Life is an adventure. So what's next? What are you trying to do? How can the Bomb Squad help you?
Thank you. So what I would love to do is form an entrepreneurs group, which is a hybrid between Tiger 21, which most people will never ever qualify for in their entire life, a hybrid of YPO, which most people will never ever qualify for, a hybrid of EO, which some people will qualify for, but most people won't, kind of like CEO Life. A place for entrepreneurs, but for the underdog that currently don't qualify, that don't have 100 million in assets, or don't make 10 million a year, or don't have the title of president. I have trained YPOs and EOs globally. I've been one of the highest rated speakers for them ever. So bringing some of that education, some of those shared experiences to the entrepreneur who's currently the underdog like me, and helping those people to make great money. But for what purpose? So we can do a lot of good together, making the world a better place for all. So really, I'm looking for the underdog entrepreneur who's hungry, right? The guy who also only have a can of sardines today.
Well, there's a lot of them out there, believe it or not.
Yeah. Yeah, you attract them.
Where do they reach out, though? You're not on Instagram. Where are you? They got to go to Facebook?
Currently,
Facebook.
Currently, all I've got is Facebook. You send me a message there. Andrew Tate found me there. He sent me messages the last few days. So you can find me if you really want to.
So I need to help you with your marketing.
Yes, sir.
We got to get you your presence correct.
Correct. I had all of that once upon a time. I was in what was called a sick, lame, and lazy squad as a kid. And it bothered me. I think I was put there maliciously, accidentally. I was not sick, lame, or lazy. But I was put in that group and I said, forgive my expression, I don't like cursing, but fuck you, I'll show you. And I had my first Rolls Royce and Rolex before the age of 40. By the age of 40, I had a chauffeur for my Rolls Royce. I've had great success once before. But that was for ego. It was arrogant. It was for me. This time is different. This time coming back from the desert is I want to help that next guy who's hungry to get his Rolls Royce. Not for the sake of having a Rolls Royce. It's not about showing off. It's none of that. But people take you serious if you have a Rolex and a Rolls Royce. You show up for a meeting, they pay attention. The mayor asks for a meeting with you. You don't struggle to get a meeting with the mayor. Now you can create social good because you have influence. Without it, you don't have influence. You're nobody. So a final thing I perhaps can say is, when a man surrenders his sword, and he no longer have a sword, and the moment he spent his last dollar or gave it away, he becomes a nobody. Doesn't matter how great he is. He's an absolute nobody like I was in the desert. You need a sword. You need money. When you have a sword and money, you can be king. Or you can at least get the attention of the king. The king will hire you to work for him as a great knight. And so that is the quest. Just like you, Brad, we're helping people to better themselves, to better their communities, their families, to better their nation, and to better the world.
Good man. Huh? Well, listen, I got a million questions, but it seems like, some of them are going to be off limits because I want to know, I want to know, the nitty gritties that you always say, well, that's a story for another day.
Well, we'll go into nitty gritties in that time. How about we get, with your help, my marketing into position and we do another show where we then,
get into some,
reveal it to the world.
Get in some nitty gritty.
Yes.
All right. Folks, listen, I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
It's been good getting to know you. Again, you weren't on my radar before, but interesting fellow, very traditional. I would say almost like if there's a driver, but he has the gloves that he uses. Like the word I'm looking for is, it's a Renaissance man. You're a bit of a Renaissance man.
Well, thank you. I take that as a compliment, and so are you. You would not recognize it in me if you don't have it in you.
That is correct. I am a bit of a Renaissance man. Folks.
And let me just say, I love your book. Everybody, you have to read this book at least twice. Buy 100 copies and give them away to 100 people. It will be the best investment you will make.
Well, thank you. Did you read it?
I read it once already. I'm reading it a second time now.
Can you tell that I wrote every word of it?
Yeah.
A lot of people.
Yeah, it's your style.
A lot of people ghostwrite their books.
Yeah.
And then say they wrote them.
Yeah.
Shit. There ain't a word in there that somebody wrote. Except me, which
Great
again,
book.
some people could use as a put down. Like, yeah, I could kind of tell it was you because most people think I got a twang, but I just wanted to make sure I wrote every single word so I could get it across very simply.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it.
It works. Great book.
Thank you, sir. And folks, as always, until next time, keep it real.